The inexplicable nature of what he did is you can't understand it. Didn't when he pled guilty on November 6th. I never did during the course of any of this investigation, any of the interviews with him. I think that he shed a tear for himself. I think justice was served in the best way we can in Colorado right now. I think if somebody came up and put their hands around somebody's neck, the first thing a victim's going to do is grab onto the hands or the arms and try to pull them away, or scrape or claw or bite or whatever to try and get that person's hands off of their throat. There wasn't anything like that in Shanann. And his statement to investigators was, they were very clearly, obviously dead, so I decided to dispose of their bodies. He didn't call 911. He didn't try CPR. You didn't even check on them to see if they were breathing. When you hear that, you're thinking, this just doesn't.
On Tuesday, what did you think of his demeanor overall?
Yeah, it was very odd. He just was sitting there waiting for something to happen. The last time I talked to him, he said, I just want to cry. And I looked at him and said, why aren't you?
On Wednesday, everything changed.
A heartbreaking outcome to the story we have been tracking all week, the confession of a father.
I didn't know what to say or do. I don't know. I sat on our bed for I don't even know how long and didn't move because I didn't want to think that they weren't coming back.
Late Wednesday night, Watts is arrested. By Thursday, police were at the oil fields where Watts used to work, and within hours found 3 bodies. Court documents revealed they discovered Shanann's body in a shallow grave. The bodies of Bella and Celeste found submerged for days in oil tanks.
You have the right to counsel. Do you understand? Yes, sir.
In an interview with authorities, Watts filling in the blanks. According to an affidavit, he loaded all 3 bodies into the backseat of his work truck and took them to an oil work site.
If your wife...
The house on Saratoga Trail stood silent under the harsh Colorado sun, its doors unlocked, its rooms untouched, and its emptiness louder than any scream. Inside, there were no signs of a struggle, no broken furniture, no blood, no chaos. And yet, 3 lives had vanished into that stillness. In the early hours of August 13, 2018, before bodies were found, before confessions were spoken, before the world learned the name Chris Watts, something far more unsettling was already unfolding. A man stood at the center of a missing family case, calm, cooperative, and disturbingly composed. From a forensic psychology perspective, the most chilling part of this case begins not with what was discovered later, but with what was visible immediately. The absence of panic, the lack of urgency, the controlled demeanor of a husband whose pregnant wife and 2 young daughters had seemingly disappeared without a trace. In situations like this, behavioral baselines matter. Shock has patterns. Grief has rhythms. Fear leaves fingerprints on posture, speech, and decision-making. And Chris Watts, even before law enforcement turned suspicious, was already deviating from those patterns.
What's going on right now around your house?
Right now it's got K9 units, the sheriff's department. Everybody's like they're doing their best right now to figure out like if they can get a scent, see where they went. If they went on foot, they went in a car, or they went somewhere. And right now it's just like they've been on point. They're going through the house trying to get a scent, and hopefully they can pick something up to where it's going to lead to something.
What happened? Your wife came home. Tell me what's...
She came home from the airport 2 a.m. and I left around 5:15. She was still here, and like about 12:10 in that afternoon, her friend Nicole showed up at the door. Like I had texted Shanann a few times that day, called her, say but she never got back to me. But she wasn't getting back to any of her people as well, and that's what really concerned a lot of people. Is like if she's not getting back to her, like if she doesn't get back to me, that's fine. Like she gets busy during the day, but she didn't get back to her people, which was very concerning. And Nicole called me when she was at the door, and that's when I came home. And then walked in the house, and nothing was vanished. Nothing was here. I mean, she wasn't here. The kids weren't here. Nobody was here.
What's your wife's name?
Shanann. S-H-A-N-A-N-N.
What's your kids?
Bella and Celeste.
How do you spell it? Celeste?
C-E-L-E-S-T-E.
How old are your daughters?
4. Bella's 4. Celeste is 3.
And so, how many times did you try calling her?
I called her 3 times, texted her about 3 times just to say, what's going on? Like, because after I called her and texted her once, it's like maybe she was just busy. Like, she'd just gotten back. You know, like everybody's probably calling her from her trip. She just got back from Arizona, and I figured she was just busy. But when her friend showed up, that's what it was like. It registered like, all right, this isn't right.
Do you think she just took off? Do you think?
I mean, right now I don't even want to just like throw anything out there. Like, I hope that she's somewhere safe right now.
This story is not about hindsight. It is about what was observable in real time. The subtle emotional disconnect, the mechanical compliance, the way concern appeared rehearsed rather than instinctive. Forensic psychologists later noted that his behavior aligned less with a frantic searcher and more with someone managing perception. Someone performing stability instead of experiencing loss.
My water jugs, my book bag, my computers, some of the tools that I have in the toolbox. I knew I was going to have to do some pumping into rubbers today. That's why I was out so far.
Is this on continually recording?
Yep. Well,
it's not. Is it motion or is it? Okay, so it's motion.
Any motion event that happens, I get cars driving from this street, and this is him at 517.
Usually park out there on the side. I just want to get everything back in. Be easier to lug everything out there, all the tools that I had to bring in.
My detective just showed up, so he'll probably want to talk to you. He'd probably, like I said, he might have you call at the bank and see if there's any kind of activity.
Because if there was any sort of action out there,
His camera's
I would have got it.
Like we had issues the other week when people were stealing stuff out of like garages and stuff like that, and I had parked my truck.
I had to park right here.
Yeah. So someone,
See if
I could see where someone tried to jimmy with a flathead screwdriver over there, and it was just like.
But if any action would have happened, any cars or anything left your house, I would have
It would have been like right in that area. It should have picked.
Oh, it'll pick up anything coming down the street this way.
You know where that tree there too?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Watch, I'll show you. There's nothing on here. We've already watched that one. But like, you'll see this car.
That's the pretty good thing you have.
That's this car. You can see this car starting to drive down the street.
That one.
Oh, look.
See what I'm saying? It picks up all the way down there.
He's next door.
Can we go?
I was talking about dispatcher. He'll be close for.
But yeah, we can pick up cars coming this way. I get anything coming this way and making this turn. So, and usually at night I pick up the cars pulling the ear trim. So, unless they pulled right here, but I would have caught her walking out. Diesel. So yeah, I thought nothing.
Nothing through the rest of the day.
No, that's it.
She's pregnant as well.
How far along?
15 weeks. That's why her friend said it was low blood sugar.
Before the interrogation room, before the polygraph, before the arrest, there were signs hiding in plain sight. Signs that only become obvious when viewed through the lens of behavioral science. This is the story of how a man's psychology betrayed him long before the evidence did. If you're drawn to deep foreign, long before that quiet house became a crime scene. Chris Watts had already built a psychological profile that blended invisibility with control. On the surface, he was the kind of man people rarely scrutinized, soft-spoken, mild-mannered, reliable. The co-worker who never caused friction, the husband who appeared devoted, the father who smiled on cue in family photos. From a forensic psychology standpoint, this outward normalcy is not accidental. It is often the most effective camouflage. Chris Watts's personality showed strong traits of emotional suppression. He did not externalize stress. He absorbed it, compartmentalized it, and buried it beneath routine. Friends and co-workers described him as passive, agreeable, almost hollow. He avoided conflict not by resolving it, but by retreating inward. This avoidance pattern matters. When pressure builds in individuals who lack healthy emotional release, it does not disappear. It reroutes.
Chris, Officer Wines with the Frederick Police Department.
This is our first glimpse into the crime scene through the eyes of investigators.
Purse is still there. The phone's on the couch. Like her wedding ring sitting on the nightstand. And it's like there's like no sign of Bella, Celeste, or anywhere.
During a 6-hour interrogation, Chris Watts joked, even laughed while answering morbid questions from detectives.
What are ways that you can make someone disappear?
I mean, like, is it talking about like what I've seen like on the movies, or like how people, if you read about other people, I mean, you hire somebody.
Like a hitman?
Yeah, I mean, I had nothing to do with what's going on right now. I did not physically harm her.
He claimed his wife and their children vanished and tried to keep the lies going during a polygraph test.
Did you physically cause Shanann's disappearance?
No.
If we do end up finding your wife and your 2 girls murdered, what do you think should happen to that person that would have done that?
The worst possible thing.
Like what?
I mean, it's either going to be like life in prison or the death penalty, isn't it? That's the only 2 things you really can do.
The 33-year-old never confesses to killing all 3, instead creates a lie about Shanann murdering the girls. But prosecutors say his motive was a fresh start. He'd already begun an affair with a co-worker, Nicole Kessinger.
It wasn't, hey, we should get married, and hey, we should have babies, and hey, I want to live with you, and hey, I need to meet your children now, and let's cut the mom out. It was never like that.
Watts kept photos of her hidden in a secret app on his phone. Kessinger says Watts lied to her too.
You found out that his
during the day, but she didn't get back to her people, which was very concerning. And Nicole called me when she was at the door, and that's when I came home. And then walked in the house, and nothing was vanished. Nothing was here. I mean, she wasn't here. The kids weren't here. Nobody was here.
What's your wife's name?
Shanann, S-H-A-N-A-N-N.
What's your kids?
Bella and Celeste.
How do you spell it? Celeste?
C-E-L-E-S-T-E.
How old are your daughters?
4, Bella's 4, Celeste is 3.
And so, how many times did you try calling her?
I called her 3 times, texted her about 3 times just to say, you know, what's going on. Like after I called her and texted her once, it was like maybe she was just busy. Like she had just gotten back, you know, like everybody's probably calling her from her trip. She just got back from Arizona, and I figured she was just busy. But when her friend showed up, that's what it was like. It registered like, all right, this isn't right.
Do you think she just took off? Do you think?
I mean, right now I don't even want to just like throw anything out there. Like, I hope that she's somewhere safe right now. That's all I need.
Honey, you've got that. You've got that.
If this conversation is in any way indicative of Chris's upbringing, it's easy to understand why he showed signs of deceptive behavior early on, which he euphemizes as having a crazy imagination.
I mean, I've always had a really crazy imagination, so like when I was a kid, like I even convinced my teacher I went to Japan over the summer, or to China or something.
Why did you convince your teacher you had gone to another country?
It was just like what you did over the summer, and I was like, oh, well, it's China. You're still right. She actually believed it. I was really convincing. So you're a smart dude. Yeah. It was, and they parent teacher conference said, so how's China? What? Nope.
Deceptive behavior in small things can lead to deceptive behavior in large things, and it takes a lot of self-deception, not to mention pride, for a person to think they can get away with a heinous crime like this, especially when they don't know how to express emotions, let alone appropriate emotions.
Like when I got home yesterday, it was like a ghost town. Like she wasn't here, kids weren't here. I have no idea like where they went. And it's just earth shattering. I don't feel like this is even real right now. It's like a nightmare that I just can't wake up from. If she's vanished, like I want her back so bad. I want those kids back so bad.
Where'd you get that shirt?
Oh, this is I think she got it off Amazon, but this is my favorite college sports team. I like these shirts a lot.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of good letters from people, just like people of support. So.
Oh, honey, you don't know how much support you had out here. So many people supported you. So many still support you. And
support him in what exactly? He's the one who's decided to plead guilty. Chris mentions the things that portray him in a positive light and leaves out the rest, most likely knowing that his mother will echo his claims.
But this is what you want?
Yeah, this is my decision. This is what I'm gonna do. Now, this nightmare has to be over for everybody.
No. You have to remember, we're strong.
I know. This is my decision, though.
But don't ever confess to something you didn't do.
I know, but this is my decision, though. This is all me, okay? I was not pressured into anything. This is my decision.
Okay.
Cindy doesn't consider her son's guilt for one moment, even though no innocent person would ever plead guilty to a crime like this.
But this is what you want? But don't ever confess to something you didn't do.
And the statement,
you have to remember, we're strong,
speaks to Cindy's image of her family, an image which isn't necessarily true. Chris is obviously careful with not saying too much. Instead of saying he's guilty, he makes his decision sound like an act of charity.
Now, this nightmare has to be over for everybody.
They keep talking as if nothing's happened.
I've been the service on Sunday. Oh my gosh, it was so pretty. Everything was decorated so nicely for Halloween, and we had crosses made for each of them. And I had bought a CD player at Walmart, and and they put the CD in, and it kept skipping, and it kept skipping, and it kept skipping. And so they sang the song without the CD. And then the second CD they put in, it was skipping and skipping and skipping. And Monica said, okay, that's little Cece. She is over there messing with that CD right this minute. And then an eagle flew over the gravesite. And, really? Yeah, and it was, and the pictures that we took, they were, they had a ray of sunshine in each picture of all of them, and it was a nice service. Everyone attended.
This excerpt shows the illusion of fairy tale that Cindy consistently prefers over reality. CDs often skip for no reason, birds fly over gravesites, and if it's a sunny day, there'll be a ray of sunshine in each picture. To say that these events are in any way proof of the presence of her granddaughters is the same kind of wishful thinking as when she goes on to say that Chris is the kindest person there ever was. One question to debunk this common illusion. What about all the other times, all the other services, for example, when there aren't any so-called signs, when there's no meaning? Chris laughs as the reminiscing
is over
father,
there
as if he
messing-
didn't take the lives of the girls Cindy's referring to, as if he's not the reason why Cindy has to make up signs that fit her fairy tale, as opposed to realizing the ugly truth about Chris's nature. And the illusion continues, with Cindy desperately trying to find meaning in the meaningless.
Your story's not over. It's just another beginning of something else, Chris. But your story does not end here. It doesn't end here. You are made for something else. Then I don't know what it is yet, but you are someone that I always felt that you had a pure heart, a good soul. No one could ever say anything bad about you. You were the kindest person there ever was.
In contrast, Shannon Watts was expressive, driven, and vocal. She documented her life openly, shared emotions freely, and confronted problems head-on. From a psychological lens, this created a dangerous imbalance. One partner externalized emotion, the other internalized it. Over time, that dynamic can foster silent resentment. Not explosive anger, but something colder, something more controlled. Chris did not assert dominance through aggression or intimidation. His control manifested through compliance. He allowed decisions to be made for him while quietly detaching. Forensic psychologists often describe this as passive dominance, a state where an individual appears submissive while internally reclaiming power through secrecy. By the time his behavior began to shift, it was subtle. Increased focus on self-image, physical transformation, emotional withdrawal masked as self-improvement. These changes were not inherently criminal, but they marked a psychological pivot. A man who had spent years disappearing into the background was beginning to imagine an alternate version of himself, one unburdened, one unobserved. These are not conclusions drawn after the fact. These are patterns that were forming before anyone realized they needed to look. And they raise a chilling question. When someone spends a lifetime avoiding conflict, what happens when escape no longer feels possible? If you're finding value in this deep psychological breakdown, make sure to like this video. Subscribe to Shadow. As the weeks passed leading up to the disappearance, the internal fractures within Chris Watts became more visible to those trained to recognize them, though still nearly invisible to everyone else. From a forensic psychological perspective, this period is defined by cognitive dissonance, the mental strain of living two incompatible realities at once. Chris was maintaining the image of a devoted family man while emotionally severing himself from that identity entirely. His behavior showed classic signs of emotional disengagement. He became distant, less responsive, and increasingly mechanical in his interactions at home. This wasn't sudden rage or impulsivity. It was emotional shutdown. In psychology, this phase is often more dangerous than open conflict because it reflects a person who has stopped seeing others as emotionally real. Empathy doesn't disappear overnight. It erodes quietly. Chris began investing heavily in an internal fantasy life. Forensic psychologists describe this as future-oriented escape ideation. Instead of addressing problems, the individual mentally relocates to an imagined future where current obligations no longer exist. This future becomes idealized, simplified, and emotionally rewarding. The present, by contrast, starts to feel like a cage. What made this particularly alarming was Chris's lack of emotional language. He did not articulate frustration, fear, or dissatisfaction in healthy ways. Instead, he replaced emotion with physical routine. Diet, exercise, structure. Control over the body often emerges when the mind feels out of control. It creates a false sense of mastery. Digital behavior also revealed cracks, increased secrecy with his phone, a narrowing of attention toward a single external source of validation. Forensic analysts note that when someone emotionally detaches from their family and reattaches to a singular outside bond, their moral boundaries can rapidly destabilize. Loyalty becomes selective. Justification becomes easier. Importantly, none of this guaranteed violence. Most people experiencing emotional detachment do not commit crimes. But when detachment combines with conflict avoidance, identity collapse, and an obsession with starting over, the psychological risk escalates. The individual begins to see obstacles not as people, but as problems. This is the stage where empathy fades, responsibility feels negotiable, and irreversible thoughts quietly take root. Long before the crime itself, the mental groundwork was already being laid. Continue uncovering how behavior often tells the truth before words ever do. Sick level. True crime analysis like this. Take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Shadow of Deceit, and turn on notifications so you never miss a case where the truth hides behind a calm face.